Warhammer 40,000 has just had some huge changes to the game. We've had the balanced data slate. We've also got the points changes, and that's what we're going to be discussing in this video, along with some changes to some new detachments. Now, we have released another video which is all about the changes. Please go watch that first. That's called the balanced data slate. That's all the big rules changes, and that's going to help you understand why these points have changed to why they have. And without that video, you're not really going to maybe understand the context behind some of these changes, because you might feel like they're quite crazy.
Yeah, they do go hand in hand, these documents, and there's going to be so much other information coming out with all of this. Like, you're going to have the not the Pariah, it's the Tournament Companion now, so that's going to come out as well. So it's going to be loads of different things, but this, we're focusing purely on points.
Yes, so the landscape of the game, because there's those three things when we look at balance. There is the rules of the game, there is points, and then there's the missions. And it's all happening. Let's do this. What's first?
So, Adepta Sororitas, we've got Castigator is down 10, Immolator's down 10, Junif is down 10, Paragon Warsuits has gone down 10, the Repentia have gone down 10 for 5 and 10 for 10. Retributors are down 10, Seraphim down 5 and for 10, down 10 as well. And then the Triumph is down 15 points.
Okay, well, I think there's some great changes there to hopefully help sisters feel a little bit more competitive. They've also had some changes as well. I mean, Castigators, I was normally running 2 to 3, so that's 20 to 30 points saving there. 100% running Junifs, that's another 10 points, so we're maybe up to about 30, 40 points. I think I had like 2 units of Seraphim, so that could be like another 10 points there, so we're now up about 50 points. Straight away, that's another 3 Archoflagellants I could put into the list, for example. So yeah. Is that going to be the difference between winning and losing games? It's all going to depend more on the changes to the impact of the rules. But hopefully, just a few more little things starts to see sisters climb up those numbers in terms of their win rate.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a nice lifestyle change for sisters players, isn't it? Where they're going to see, hopefully, a bit more, like, feel a bit more comfortable with their armies. I'm
really glad to see the Repentia coming down, because I feel like they were just way too high. They work really well in one detachment, but less so in others. Is the Retributors changed?
So Retributors are down 10. So they're 115 points for 5 models.
All right, so now I'm tempted to put them in my list.
Yeah, especially with their rules change as well,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. So, yeah, I definitely could find a place for those. All right, what's next?
Next up, we have Adeptus Custodes, another army close to your heart. Alara's Custodians, so they've gone down. So for 2 models, down 10. For 3 models, down 15. For 5 models, down 25. And for 6 models, down 30. So obviously the points will be reflected on the document as well.
Yeah.
So Terminator's all coming down, which is an interesting one, really, isn't it? Because they were seen in quite a few lists.
No, you only saw them in my list.
In your list, right? Okay, sorry, that's the only list I've seen then, isn't it? Yeah. Okay,
I was the only person, I think, at tournaments.
Not even in the Lions, because isn't there the split strat?
No, I think you might see 2.
Okay,
but people you're splitting them up for the uppy downy doing actions. Yeah. But yeah, nobody was running multiple units of Terminators in regards to trying to do damage with them, aside from me.
Is that enough to do that, though, do you reckon?
I mean, I think they're good. I think they're now... they're always a staple in my list. I wouldn't take them out. I tried, didn't like it, put them back in. Works really cohesively with the rest of my army. I'm happy about that change. I now would look to personally tweak my own list to try and fit in a 3rd unit now of them. And if I can do that, then brilliant. But it's pretty significant, because I've essentially now gained 30 points for the 2 units that because I take 3s. I've got an expensive enhancement I might just drop, and now all of a sudden I've got another mission playing unit of another unit of prosecutors. Yeah. So that just helps me hold my backfield a little bit more, which is kind of the thing I'm missing. So I'm really happy with it. Okay,
brilliant. Anything else you think could have come down for Custodes or up?
Maybe some of the Forge World units could have come down.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like the Forge World Terminators, the Forge World bikes. None of that getting a bit of a look at, because the bikes as well are just, they didn't get the upgrade that the regular bikes did. Although they're the same bike. Yeah. Pretty much. They didn't get the upgrade in stats, so definitely some points decreases there. Could have been nice. Yeah. Everything else, though, pretty good.
Brilliant. Next up, Adeptus Mechanicus.
Okay.
So we've had some points decreases. So the Ballistari, the Chicken Walkers. So for 1, down 5. For 2, down 10. And for 3, down 15.
So down 5 each, yeah.
Yeah, down 5 each. Scorpius Disintegrator is down 10.
Okay.
The Sidonian Dragoons with Taser Lances, so the alternate version of the chickens, down 5, down 10, down 15.
Yep.
And then one of the enhancements, the Transocular Dyad Wafers, favourite wafers, they are down 15 points, so it's at 15, which is to counter for the change from the balanced data slate, where obviously now Castellan robots get the army rule.
Cool. Nice.
But that's it for AdMech. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge AdMech player, although now the robots have had some changes. I think I'll be picking up that faction, giving it a bit of a go. So I'm excited about giving those a try, and I think I'll have a much more informed opinion probably in a couple of months' time, I think, in terms of overall what those changes have done for the army.
The Disintegrator coming down is interesting, because that's, if I'm right in saying that is the tank, isn't it? The tank version, not the indirect version. If I'm right in saying that.
Okay.
And I think, that's interesting seeing that come down.
Yeah.
And the chickens, cool. We never see them really, so we could see them on table. We're not going to look at Adeptus Titanicus.
Nope.
Aeldari. So Aeldari have had some ups and some downs.
Sure.
So the Autarch has gone up 10.
Probably justified.
Fire Dragons for 5 have gone up 10.
Probably justified.
Fire Prism has gone down 10.
Definitely justified.
Banshees for 5 have gone up 5, and the 10 models have gone up 10.
Probably didn't need to up change.
The Shining Spears down 10 for 3 and down 20 for 6.
Yeah, weird, because actually when they first were released, people were like, oh my god, these Shining Spears are amazing, these are broken.
That was one of them.
You were crying.
Yeah.
Like, they hit okay, but they just die so fast, don't they?
Yeah, I think that's something that when... I'll say from my own experience, from seeing Aeldari, from reading the Codex to playing against them, they still have the fundamental flaw of Eldar, where they obviously just die to a stiff breeze, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, damage-wise, that's where they excel. So it's good. Hopefully, Shining Spears coming down. I mean, do we see Shining Spears competitively in Eldari lists? No. So that hopefully you can then bring them into lists.
Maybe.
And then see how it goes for people.
Maybe, yeah.
War Walkers have gone down.
Nice.
10 for 1 and 20 for 2.
I think that's good, yep.
Warlock Conclave for 4 models has gone up 20 points.
Okay.
Interesting. And then for Inari, we've had the Incarn has gone up 10, the Archon has gone up 10, and the Incubi for 5, 10, and for 10, 20.
I don't think that was needed, personally.
Yeah, I agree.
I think you could just left all the points the same for Unai, but we kind of discussed this on the changes because I think their rules have had a big impact.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're probably
bit heavy-handed, right?
Maybe, yeah. But obviously, GW got to do what they feel like is right to get the numbers in the right place, and you never know what will happen. I mean, we've seen Sisters; they had a huge nerf, and the points go up, and then some of the nerfs have been rolled back a little bit. Some of the points have been rolled back a little bit until it finds that sweet spot. Yeah.
Yeah. Time will tell, right?
Time will tell.
Astra Militarum.
Okay.
So Bulgarin are down 10 and for 6 down 20.
Okay.
Deathcore Krieg 20 models down up 15. Sorry.
Yeah, fair enough.
Death Riders for 5 models down 10 and for 10 models down 20.
Okay.
The Lehman Russ Battle Tank is up 10. And the Taurox is up 10. The Aquilons are down 10. And Ursula Creed is up 20.
Right. Yeah.
So the common units you've seen in almost every list, all up.
I don't know about the Bulgarin though, because they were very good and they got nerfed.
Yeah,
because people were running 18 of them.
It's a weird change to go back, but because I'm still seeing them in Astra Militarum lists.
Yeah.
It's a weird one.
Like you don't want them to be spammed, but you also like are they at the how many points are they now for 6?
100 for 6 is 200 points.
Yeah.
Well, for 3, 100 points.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know what they were when they went up. So if they're maybe somewhere in the middle now, maybe it's like that little middle adjustment. I don't know their points before.
Lehman Russ Battle Tank going up is probably fair.
The Rogue Dawn Commander, that's in every list that I've seen recently.
That's not gone up.
Yeah, how many points is that?
So the Rogue Dawn Commander is 265.
Okay, it's quite expensive.
It's quite expensive, but...
Yeah, it is in every list I've seen recently, and sometimes 2 of them.
Yeah.
All right, cool. What's next?
Next up, we have Black Templars.
Yes.
Loads of decreases here.
Yes.
Chaplain Grimaldus, down 10.
Great.
High Marshal Helbrecht, down 10.
Yep.
For 20 Crusaders, down 10.
Yep.
And Sword Brethren for 5, down 10. And for 10 models, down 30.
Yep. Well, the reason why they're down a lot more for the 10 is because your first good units are in the first 5 anyway.
Yeah.
So the next 5 of the 10 are just obligatory wounds, basically. They're not very good.
I don't think I've ever seen 10 Primal Sword Brethren in a unit.
I have a couple of times. I feel like they could have probably come down more for 10. But
what points do you reckon? Like 250, 260?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you got to think about, like, when you compare them to Blade Guard. Blade Guard have got 4 up invulnerable save, a way to re-roll those saves. They're always flat damage too. So, yeah, I think the Sword Brethren are good. Now, they've kind of come down to, you know, when I was playing Black Templars all the time?
Yes.
They're back down to those points.
Okay.
Because when Ironstorm came out and everyone was running Black Templar Ironstorm, all the points went up for everything. So they kind of come back down to pre-Ironstorm hotness days.
It's an interesting one, Sword Brethren, because they've got such a powerful rule which amplifies the characters, right, with the plus 1 damage.
Yeah.
But because they have no invul, it obviously makes them a lot squishier. But then if you look at Aeldari, they have the same problem. But then would you not say that they deserve to come down on some of the units because of that?
What, Aeldari?
Yeah.
Well, no, because Aeldari can turn off Overwatch.
Sure.
Which I think is a big component, because if you Overwatch Sword Brethren, you lose a lot of your unit because they're only a 3-up save, toughness 4 model. And in the game at the minute, the difference between toughness 3 and toughness 4 is pretty much the same.
Yep.
So the only real difference is wounds. And there's so much 2 damage in the game anyway. You do get through a lot of those Sword Brethren quite easily.
A lot of 3 damage as well.
Yeah, exactly. 3 damage. You get Overwatched by an Exocrine. They roll a hit. That's now sustained. They roll 2 hits. That's 4 hits. You pretty much wound on 2s. So you could lose 4 of your 5 models from one Exocrine Overwatching with 2 hits.
Well, yeah, because as well they'll be on 6-up saves with an Exocrine, right?
Exactly.
Because power armor doesn't really mean much in the current game, does it?
No. So you could easily lose. What they now 140.
Yeah.
You could easily lose, you know, equivalent of 4 of those models, 80 to 100 points in one Overwatch. Activation was, you can't do that with Eldar because they can turn it off where they need it. They got a lot more versatility with their movement.
Yeah. Okay, completely agree. The other thing to touch on with Black Templars is, do you remember when there was the big spam army with like the Horde Black Templar list? Yeah. It's interesting to see the 20 come down.
Yeah, I think that's because they've come down a little bit, but not
too much. It's not heavy-handed. Because
otherwise you'd never take 20 at their points cost before, really. Now, the other interesting thing here for Templars players is when we get onto Space Marines, it might actually be worth skipping to Space Marines now.
Okay.
Because when we talk about the other changes, it will be quite impactful. So the captain with jump packs come down 10 points, and also Vanguard vets have significantly come down. And I think for me, both of those units are very viable in a Black Templars list, especially Righteous Crusade. There's a cool combo that you can do with the captain. You can give him Sigismund Seal. So that means when you're playing in Righteous Crusade, you pick sustained hits. Sigismund Seal basically gives you critical hits on 5s. With the Vanguard veterans, they now get critical hits of 5s for lethal and sustain on the turn in which they charge. That's just going to make that unit a little bit more punchy, and I think for the Vanguard vets cost and the captain's new cost, I could definitely see a unit of that being played for Templars, and I'm really excited about getting my Templar army back onto the tabletop.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go through the Space Marine changes then, because we've obviously got Blood Angels and Dark Angels to go over as well.
And Space Wolves.
And Space Wolves as well, yes. So Space Marine, so aggressors for 3 down 20 and for 6 down 20.
Okay.
Then you've got Captain with Jump Package said down 10. The Heavy Intercessor Squad for 5 down 10 for 10 down 20. Hellblasters for 5 down 5 and for 10 down 10.
Yep.
Calgar has come down 10 points.
Yep.
Guilliman down 25 points.
Yep.
The Vanguard Veterans down 15 for 5 and 30 for 10.
That's why I think they're now viable.
Yeah, it's an interesting one actually, that the Vanguard Veterans. Now, for my opinion with these guys, 95 points, if you then compare them to assault intercessors with jump packs, I think that there's too little difference now between the points.
Okay.
For me, they're a bit cheap. And look, I'm a Blood Angels player. I love jump packs, and my whole army is all jump packs.
Yeah.
But for me, there's no real choice now. The Mortals is nice, but when you look at what you get, a 4-up invul, and we just mentioned power armor doesn't really mean anything in the current game. So now you've got a 4-up invul, and you've got lethal, strength 5, and all the damage that can come out of that.
So you get an extra strength, but the AP and the damage is still the same.
Yep.
Same amount of attacks. So yeah, you get the 4-up invul, which is obviously very good.
Lethal hits as well.
And you get the lethal hits, yeah. I mean, I think the mortal wounds that the assault intercessors with jump packs can deliver, combined with a grenade stratagem, is a very threatening combo.
Yep.
Because it does mean you can deal with things that you might not normally be able to.
I mean, I've had to kill an armager before with grenades and then doing the attacks into it. So I'm not discounting assault intercessors jump packs. I think a 10 brick of them with a captain is really strong, and vice versa, right?
The other thing it might be sort of equating for is obviously in some, I mean, it's only really one army, but the Raven Guard, they can have OC2, can't they, on those assault intercessors? But where do you point Vanguard vets where you actually take them? Because even now I'm considering not taking them in the Templars list.
Interesting.
They haven't become like an auto-include. Okay. So I feel like for me they're still in the consideration stage. Now, of course, in some lists like like Blood Angels, with the additional strength of the captain, that takes them up to 6. Then with the +2 strength.
From Liberator, you could go to strength 8 with them, yeah.
Strength 8 base. With Lance, maybe?
With Lance for a CP.
AP1, can you get that to AP2?
Not in that detachment, no.
Okay. But that's still pretty good, right? Strength 8, AP1, 1 damage attacks. Although that starts to get a bit weird because what you put in that into, because actually all the targets that strength 8 is useful into, you kind of want damage at least AP2, maybe AP3. Damage 2, damage 3. Because you want to be, when you're strength 8, going into those tougher targets that are toughness 8, you don't really want to be pushing into...
You've got lethal hits, though, as well. We have to remember. So, and you've got Over Moment, which you can then fish for lethal hits as well. So you have ways to hit up with higher toughness targets without...
But you're only AP1, damage 1. So this is what I mean. The prime targets you want to go into, really, you don't need to be much more than strength 5 to do the job that you want, which is just mass attacks at strength 5 with +1 to wound, maybe. So you're wounding most light infantry on 2s and 3s with lots of attacks, 1 damage. So everything just they're your horde clearing unit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, like as you mentioned, for Blood Angels, I mean, my list, I've already swapped my 3 units out for these 3 for the 4-up invul.
Okay.
For anything, just because of that means I've now got durable scoring pieces.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can see that.
So that for me, that was why I'm looking at it like, oh, well, it's a bit cheap. But when you do put it in that perspective, it does have a different role. Yeah. And other armies will prefer jump pack intercessors for the mortal damage output, etc. Guilliman coming down. That's the next big talking point. Calgar as well coming down.
Well, now obviously Guilliman's lost his double dipping on command points. You have to watch the video if you haven't done so already. And then same for Calgar, you only get the CP if the Warlords. You can't take them in conjunction with one another. And those two bros together are a pretty powerful combo. So
father and son.
Father and son, yeah. But anyway, what else has changed?
So we've seen Hellblasters come down as well. That's an interesting one. Hellblasters. I mean, the Dark Angel combo with Azrael, 10 Hellblasters,
and the new
detachment. I do think they're pretty good in there for one of the strats. Make them strength 10 Hellblasters.
I think heavy intercessors coming down is probably fair. I know a lot of people were looking at them originally when they got their increases in their buffs, but I still felt like they were quite expensive because we were never seeing them. So they had their points go up and a buff, but I felt like they could have just had the increase on rules and kept the points the same, and they're probably good to go. Now I feel like they might be in a slightly better place. So overall, I think there's some pretty decent changes there for Marines. The Ballistas Dreadnought, still the same?
Still the same. The one I am...
Blade Guard.
Blade Guards, that is the big one. They should be 90 minimum, in my opinion. Potentially even go 95 to 100.
It's really difficult when you've got a detachment system that really push certain units and not others.
Yeah.
And this is the issue, I think, with the detachment system, is that it does make... I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons, so I am just talking about one of the cons, and there's many pros with the detachment system, please don't get me wrong. But with everything, every reaction has an equal and opposite reaction. So if you make a change, there will be potentially something you've lost for good or bad, and this isn't a criticism in any way, it's just the reality of it. So, for example, Blood Angels in Liberator, how much are they worth to you? If Blade Guard were in the Blood Angels section, how much would you point 3 at?
I'd say 95, I think, personally. 95 to 100 in that region.
All right, so how many points would you give them if they were in a Raven Guard army in Vanguard?
Probably 90, maybe 85.
Yeah, maybe. What are they now?
They're 80 currently.
Right, so I would say that's probably the worst attachment they could go in.
Mm-hmm.
So they could be 80 there.
Yeah.
But you've got this like variance of where one detachment could take a unit and just really get the most out of it. So then where do you point it, right?
Yeah. It's Liberator does that to so many data sheets because of the stat increase, doesn't it?
On combat,
combat. And
yeah.
it does bend a lot of the data sheets to become almost oppressive for some armies.
And this is why World Eaters, Death Guard, Thousand Sons don't have that problem, because obviously they're not sharing legionaries.
Yeah.
They're not sharing some of the other tanks, but then the tanks have different rules, but they're still pointed appropriately. So Games Workshop could change the points for different things if, as and when they feel like that's appropriate.
It's like supplements, isn't it? Supplements to maybe just becoming their own codexes will probably fix a lot of these issues.
Yeah, obviously the detachment system still has somewhat, like as we've seen with Repentia, being very high, but there we go. That's a reality of it.
Right, next up we're going to take a look at Blood Angels.
Okay.
Now some sweeping changes for Blood Angels.
Try and do this without a smile on your face.
Astraf. Now Astraf is fine. 95 down 10. Baal Predator down 10. Mephiston down 15. Dante down 10. Oi, oi. And then Death Company Dread down 20. Death Company with jump packs for 5 down 10 and for 10 down 10. Lamartis down 10. Sanguinary Guard for 3 down 20 and for 6 down 20, and Sanguinary Priest down 15. I couldn't do it without a smile because, look, some of it I think is justified.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it I think is ludicrous.
All right, cool. Let's go for it.
The characters. Let's talk about the characters.
All right.
Astraf Lamarti's coming down 10.
Okay,
it's fine.
Sure.
Yeah. Dante coming down 10. It's fine.
Yeah. It's probably the worst Primarch. Chapter Master.
I'm just going to ignore it.
He is, though.
He's not.
He is.
Are you talking rules-wise?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Azrael's better. Calgar's better.
Mm-hmm.
Done. Argument over.
Dante's better than Logan, though. Oh, he's got effect. Damn it. I've got no CP manipulation. Justice for Dante. Chief Librarian Mephiston, down 15. Yeah. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sanguinary Priest, down 15.
Justified. Because he's a lot worse now.
Because who he can lead, right?
Yes. Yeah. He doesn't have a jump back.
Yeah. But that's all the characters.
Agreed. Fine.
I think the characters are completely fine.
Death Company Dreadnought down, fine. Balpred down, fine.
Great.
Yeah.
Death Company down 10, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why it's the same, because obviously you get maximum return when you take 10, because obviously you get, especially combined with Lamartes, the -1 damage is really useful on 10 and less on 5.
Yeah. It's weird though, because
how many points is the Death Company Captain?
The Death Company Captain is with jump pack 75.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty cheap, to be fair. I think that's the same cost as a Canoness with jump pack, if I'm honest. In fact, the Canoness with jump pack could even be more expensive, and if so, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, he doesn't get a birthday or anything.
Right.
So he doesn't do the free strat. He has the Death Company rule and gives sustained.
I mean, that's pretty great.
The sustain's good, right?
But I would rather take, The
thing is with Death Company is, if you play the Index and then go into Death Company, obviously their output is significantly lower. Like they for me, they
Mate, the last time I played Blood Angels was 9th edition.
Death Company, because they have an assortment of weapons.
I know. Yeah.
They don't really have an ideal target. But if they come down, I don't know if maybe they needed to come down when you've got all the characters coming down as well.
Yeah, sure.
But it makes it's fine. It's not like a crazy one.
Which is the most ridiculous
Sanguinary Guard.
Yeah.
Them going down to 110 for 3 Sanguinary Guard is absolutely ludicrous. But moreover, 240 points for 6.
Yeah, so what is their closest equivalent? Name some units in the game that you think are similar to Sanguinary Guard.
Okay. 8 bound.
8 bound. Why? Because there's 3 of them.
There's 3 of them. They have similar damage profiles.
Yeah.
They have
all damage 2.
All damage 2.
AP 2.
AP 2. Potentially AP 3 with Exalted.
Yep. How many points are 3 8 bound?
I think they're 150, 155.
And they don't fly.
They don't fly. They don't have a 2-up save.
They don't have a 2-up save, and they don't have a 4-up invuln.
No.
And their rule gives them rerolls, but whatever you get pluses to hit when you're leading.
So Exalted 8 bound are 160, normal 8 bound are 150.
Right.
And for 6 Exalted 8 bound 320, and for 6 8 bound 300.
Yeah.
So we're already seeing 60 to 70 point difference on the big man units.
And you get 2 rules. You're -1 to hit in combat.
Yep.
and you get +1 to hit when you're
-1 to wound if I'm being led. So with that one, you have to have a character.
Sure.
So you've got to take in consideration of.
Is that combat only?
Yeah, it's all combat only.
Okay.
It's all combat only. So you've got to think of the tax you're paying for the characters. The jump pack captain coming down is significant because you're probably going to see, and I'm calling it now, the list of 18 Sanguinary Guard with characters attached and Blade Guard.
Yeah.
With the equivalent. Maybe not even max, but a big swathe of this in the list.
Yeah. I think it's a lot. I think because Venatari, again, another close similar unit. Your guys are faster because they move 12, not 10. We can't really take into consideration things like army rules like Oath versus Martial Guitars. You get an army rule, basically, and you get a detachment rule. But when you're looking at it on pure output, we got the same amount of wounds, 3 wounds each.
3 wounds, toughness 4, which is that's the big weakness with Sangard, is because they're toughness 4, the ideal target going into them is like a Fortrine, right? So that sort of profile, anything strength 8 is winning them on 2s.
Yeah.
And they do fall victim to that.
Sure.
And obviously you're at the mercy of rolling a 4-up. Is usually what you're doing with Sangard.
But that would also be the same with Venatari, and they're 165 for 3.
Yeah.
And yeah, to be honest, whether you're wounding them on 2s or 3s, and there's going to be a lot of times when you're being wounded on 3s anyway, and I'm still being wounded on 3s.
Yeah.
So that's still the same there. But you are getting essentially, 40-point reduction compared to my unit. That is roughly the equivalent in terms of damage.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've been running Sangard, Death Company and stuff for the whole edition. Yeah. And Sanguinary Guard still hit really hard.
Yeah.
I've not found them lacking in any way. I've been very critical of their rule and stuff. I still wish they had a different rule on them.
Yeah.
But in terms of what they are, they should be at where they were, 130. I thought they were fine.
130 I think is fine, yeah.
I didn't think they needed to come down or anything. I think they were at a balanced point. Whereas now I'm really concerned that this then tips it over the scale.
And everyone's on them.
And everyone's on them. And then the faction, you mentioned it in, I think it was our balance video, that you actually don't want to be hit with all the points reductions and have your faction struggling, because then everyone jumps on it. And I'm worried that we're going to see this Liberator spam again.
Yeah, like the seesaw effect, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what's next anyway?
Next, well, let's go to Dark Angels, and we'll go to Space Wolves as well while we're on the Space Marine topics.
Okay.
So Dark Angels themselves have had no changes to their points. They have had a new detachment.
Yes.
They have had changes to the Lion.
Yeah.
Interestingly, no points adjustment on the Lion, so it seems that GW obviously being a bit cautious on that.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. I don't think Dark Angels really needed anything.
No, I'm just thinking of any of those units that... What are Black Knights out? Did they come down in the last one, Black Knights? I think they did come down. I think... but if we look at I do think that Azrael does need to come up slightly. You probably could see some of those other characters, like Asmodee or Asmodai. Belial, was that the other one?
Belial, yeah.
They probably could have come down a little bit, but
it's difficult.
But where do you put them until the point where they're just cheap chaff?
If I tell you the points now, Asmodai is 70 points.
Okay.
So he's already cheaper than most characters you take as a Space Marine.
Yeah.
Belial is 85 points, so he's already cheaper than the characters, or equivalent to the characters of other Terminator ones.
Yeah.
Ezekiel's 75.
You can't really take them much lower before they become as cheap as like
Guardsman characters.
Yeah, or a Canoness.
Yeah, and that's not fair at all. So I think Dark Angels are fine. They're not. We'll see how the detachment does for them.
I think the detachment's very strong. It could be, I'm going to say this now, I think it'll be one of the most played detachments in the next sort of block of play we're in until the next balanced Dataslate. I think it will be one of the most played detachments.
Nice. Deathwatch, no changes to Deathwatch.
Yeah.
All that's fine. I think Deathwatch are in a position where not many people have the collection to play Deathwatch, but they are a very strong faction if you do play them. But no points changes there. And Space Wolves, now, it's an interesting one because all their points are new.
Yes.
So,
well, they're in the new camp of stuff happening, so I think we just need to see where they're at for the time being.
Yeah, exactly. So that is the Space Marine factions. So if we start to move on to all the other factions, so we've done Dark Angel.
Can you take Vanguard vets in Space Wolves or not?
So you can take Vanguard vets in Space Wolves, yes.
Okay.
I believe it's Devastators, Apothecary, and Tactical Squad that you can't take as a Space Wolf.
Okay.
I believe they're the 3 that you can't take.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Chaos Demons, So Nurglings are up 5 for 3 and up 10 for 6. So you were seeing them in almost every list. I don't think it's a massive change, but
no, I think it's justified. Yeah, because you do see them in every list. Yeah.
But they have had some enhancement increases. Okay. The Shadow Legion, Fade to Darkness has gone up to 15 points. It's gone up 15 points, sorry. And Leaping Shadows has gone up 10. So Fade to Darkness, if I'm right, was the on and offy Bloodthirster.
No, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 30 points now.
Yeah.
Surprised it isn't the 45 that we've seen the completely strong ones. Surprised that hasn't gone up to one of those category of enhancement. Chaos Knights, nothing there, so no changes on Chaos Knights. Chaos Space Marines, so some stuff has come down, and obviously we've had the changes in the balanced data slate and the new detachment as well. So things that have come down: Chaos Lord down 10 with Jump Pack.
Yep.
Dark Apostle down 10.
Yep.
Felgor Beastman down 15.
Broke
absolute. Too much. Master of Possession down 10 and Traitor Enforcer down 10.
Okay.
So some of the single characters coming down, which is good.
Yep.
I know Jake said the Master of Possession is pretty good with the
because he can lead Possessed. Yep.
Possessed, that's the one. Yep.
With the new detachment, very strong. Yep. With Scout.
Absolutely. We've already gone on to Dark Angels, Death Guard. Now their Nurglings have come up to reflect the Chaos Demon ones as well, but nothing else.
Okay.
So nothing else.
Yeah, we spoke about this on the other video, but obviously it's very early days in regards to, obviously it does feel like Death Guard's been out quite some time now, but we got to see lists get to tournaments, and we need to see that data come through, I suppose, really, before we can make real. Yeah, I mean, I think Death Guard are strong.
I think they're probably the strongest faction currently.
I would agree with that comment. Yeah,
and I think. Like you said, it is something that we have to wait for, see results come in, but they are sitting very high on their win percentage.
It's how easy they're winning games is the problem.
Yes.
Because it's somewhat okay to have an army that has a high win rate, providing that in order to get the high win rate, you're a very skillful player. And the reason why I say that is because it therefore shows that you have to be, like with all things, a master of the game in order to unlock the true potential of a codex, which I'm okay with, because then at least it's like justified.
Yeah.
It's when an army has a very easy win rate, and it's extremely accessible, and that's what we sometimes see with stat check armies. It's just a case of, yes, this is a dice rolling game, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But if it was just a dice rolling game and that was all it was depending on, we may as well just flip heads or tails, see who wins. There needs to be somewhat skill expression, certainly for myself to remain interested in the game.
I completely agree with you.
So yes, randomness is an important part of the game, but the skill part of Warhammer is to make the dice less significant.
Yeah. Drukhari, so they've had some points come down. So the Mandrakes for 5 down 5 and for 10 down 10. The Ravager down 10 as well. I'm glad that's happened. And then Dedicated Transports, the Raiders down 5 and the Venoms down 5 as well.
Cool.
So you're going to see some more points on your army, probably like maybe 30, 40 points, depending on what you're taking in an army.
Yeah.
Emperor's Children, interestingly.
Now, yeah, this is interesting because I'll be honest, when I first saw the codex, I was quite worried about them. And I'll be more than open to say that.
In a positive way or negative way, like too strong or
no, I thought
not strong enough.
I didn't think they would be strong enough, and the reason why I say that is because I didn't feel like the durability was there for them to hang with some other armies. Like the Noise Marines, I think they're only 2 wounds, aren't they?
They're just 2 wounds, toughness 5.
Yeah, I think their damage output is extremely high in this army. The thing that really holds this army up is the Demon Prince with wings.
Well, that's where the durability comes into it, isn't it? And the mortal wounds. And
they are horrendous to play against. There's really not much you can do about them. They're so fast. They can move from being completely, obscured to charging you. And their mechanic is that they do a load of mortal wounds on the charge based on, and you roll a dice for how many wounds you have left. Now, because they are so fast, it's very difficult to even chip a few wounds off, so they roll less dice when they hit you. So you do get hit really, really hard from mortals, and then the attacks from the model can hit back so hard, you're not left with a huge great deal. And it takes a lot to even damage it because it's -1 damage. Yeah. I mean, I had 3 Terminators try and take one down, and I didn't even scratch it. And in return, I died.
It's a weird one with them, isn't it? Because they have been the crutch of the army.
Yeah.
That 3 couple of units of Noise Marines,
Yep.
bunch of Infractors led by Lords, Lord Exultants in coterie.
Yeah, and I think that with these changes now, if you go through them,
So Demon Prince up 20,
yeah,
so gone up 20 to 200. The Fulgrim's come down 20. Lucius has gone up 10. Noise Marines have gone up 10. And then the Pledge of Unholy Fortune has gone up 10 as well.
yeah.
And that's in a coterie detachment. We'll touch on Fulgrim later, but the rest of it...
Yeah, I think Lucius going up 10 is fine because he gives you that feel no pain. He's very strong, hits very hard, lone operative. Yeah, it's really, really good. See, I would have how many points are not the inner circle?
Infractors.
Not the Infractors, the sword dudes.
Flawless Blades.
Yeah, how many points
So
are they?
Flawless Blades are 110 points. So let's put this into perspective.
Compared to a Blade Guard.
Compare it to Sanguinary Guard.
Yeah.
They're the same price point as 3 Sanguinary Guard.
See, that's not right.
Yeah.
See, I would have liked to have seen them come down to even the same cost as... I know they got the anti...
They always win on the 3+ ability.
Yeah. But they're not very durable.
So not durable. I do think they're good.
Yeah.
But they're not... You're not seeing them. I think the problem with this is because we have the crutch of the triple Demon Prince, the Noise Marines and Rhinos, Lord Infractors. There's literally like one build for this faction at the minute.
Why would you bother? So
why would you bother?
I would have liked to have seen these maybe come down even 5. Bring them down a little bit, just like tempt them in a bit.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I think with these points changes, the Noise Marines are too good not to take. So are the... I think you just take less stuff.
Yes.
Not a wider variety of stuff, and they don't have a huge variety anyway. So
no.
I mean, it's things like in that codex. It'd be nice for why can't a Lord Excellent whatever
Exalt and go with the Flawless Blades.
Yeah,
I think they're suffering from the sins of having such a powerful rule.
Does he get devastating wounds?
I don't think he does. I know he gets extra AP and he gets loads of attacks.
Yeah, it's fine though. Or even like some of the other units where like you've got the Lord, the Cacophonous guy. I don't think he can even lead the units that infiltrate with the bolt guns. They can't even lead them.
No.
So it would have been nice to see some other optimization in order to see a more versatile army force. But anyway, there we go.
Fulgrim as well, coming down 20. I still... The problem with Fulgrim, I think, is rules.
Yeah.
And data sheet. He needs more of more punch to him, I think, to actually make him a bit more viable. Because you've taken him for this massive big base, and it's a Demon Primarch. He's still durable and still has that asset to him, right? But 365 points. Why would you invest that in Fulgrim when he's not going to kill the same as a Demon Prince?
No, he's not. No.
And that's the problem with him, right? Or Lucius. Lucius just kills everything. So he's
good. Yeah.
Anyway. Next up, Genestealer Cults. The only thing here is Atalan Jackals, down 5 for 5 models and 10 for 10 models.
Okay, cool.
So the bikes are down, so if you're paying Outlander score,
nice,
got some more points. So
what I'd like to have seen on that is Neophytes go up for the 20.
Yeah. They went up on the last data slate.
Okay.
They did go up in the last data slate,
That's
the 20.
good to know, yeah.
But not this one. So Grey Knights, Brotherhood Champion, down 10. Brotherhood Terminators for 10 models, down 20. And Paladins for 10 models, down 20. So if you're taking bigger bricks, they're cheaper. Yeah. And then the Brotherhood Champion coming down as well. So, interesting.
Yeah.
Then
I do love Grey Knights. I think this is a cool army.
They are a cool army. I just wish there was less incentive to take Dread Knight spam.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
I think that's just a 10th edition thing, though, I guess, isn't it? Because it's just...
Big things are better.
Big things are better.
Yeah. Big guns really don't tire.
They really don't. They really don't. But I do with them.
Yeah. I'll be honest, right? So recently I went to DreamHack and played in the team event and had a great time playing. But so many lists were just tank spam, knight spam, monster spam, crusher spam. And it really was very much like that. There were so many stat checky armies there. I was quite lucky that I played against Orks twice. But for the other games, it was like 3 Norns. I played in one game, played against Crusher Stampede in another game, and on a lot of the other tables, it was just tanks after tanks after tanks.
Yeah. It's more so in teams as well, but I do think singles you see it so much, especially towards start to go to the top end of the pack.
I genuinely love those sort of armies that
balanced armies.
Not even a balanced army. Like, I'm not even going to say that because you can... Balance is a weird term of phrase to use in
Sure.
the game, right? Because some armies can't have balance.
Yeah.
That Nostalgia army that was in White Dwarf. I know it sounds really old now.
White Dwarf is still going. But
No, but you know, like back in the day,
I know what you're saying. Like,
see the battle reports with the little
flavour.
like, yeah, you know, there was like a land speeder, and then a unit of Devastators, and then a Razorback, and a unit of Tactical Marines, and
I've
you're
got some
like,
Devastators in my Razorback because that's
and
really
you
cool.
got 3 bikes, and then you got a Predator, and there's so much variance there. So much variety. I really miss that. I would actually really like to do a tournament where I think it's like Highlander used to be called, where you have to take like one of everything before you could go back round.
Yeah.
Battle line would be a bit different. But I don't know. I like a bit of variance. Yeah.
I miss the Force Org.
Yeah. It's
We
like
say it a lot, don't we?
with my Custody army, you know, I've got like a lot of different data sheets as much as I possibly can, and I like an infantry army, so I don't have a single vehicle.
All right, well, we're going to look at Imperial Agents next.
Yep.
Nothing, no changes. You rarely see it, to be honest. It's Imperial Knights, no changes whatsoever on Imperial Knights. Leagues of Votann, no changes as well. Completely stayed the same.
Okay, well, I think Votann are a pretty good place, actually.
Yeah, I think they're fine.
There's a couple of strong builds that I've played against, and I'm thinking, they're pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Necrons.
Okay, interesting.
Interesting point changes here.
Go on.
Doomstalker, down 5. Canoptic Wraiths for 3, down 5, and for 6, down 10. Death Marks, down 5
Okay.
for 5, and 10 for 10. Illuminor Zeraz, down 10.
Okay.
Locust Destroyer for 1 model, up 5.
Cool. Good.
The Plasmancer, down 5. Scorpec Lord, up 10. Technomancer, down 5. And then Awakened Dynasty, the Enagic Dermal Bond enhancement, that's gone up 15.
Okay.
If I'm right, that's the aura of +1 to hit, if I'm right in saying that.
All right.
But let's just talk about the elephant in the room, or the skeleton in the
closet
metal box. So the Technomancer and the Canoptic Race coming down.
It should not be coming down.
No, so you're getting 15 points to your list, which obviously it's not a massive amount, but
when you're running 3 units, that's 45-point change.
True. Yeah.
That's significant. I don't think most of the lists that I've played against always have Wraiths in.
Agreed. Yep, 6 of them with a Technomancer.
My concern here is Canoptic Court.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really see Canoptic Court much, but I do agree maybe this brings it back, but just the fact, any of the detachments with this Wraith brick, it's...
Some builds, I'll be honest, are not that... some detachments are not that enjoyable to play against.
Yeah.
From a user experience as an opponent, they're not that enjoyable. Because of the headache it gives you. In Canoptic Court, really give you a headache when you play against it. They've got units that you can't target. They've got units that can reactive move. They've got units that can regrow models back in certain phases of your turn. It certainly wasn't one of my favourites to ever play against. I mean, that can also be same for the army rule. There's lots of things that, from a player experience, that you might not enjoy playing against. I don't mind it too much if my opponent does damage to me. But I mean, that's a whole thing on philosophy of rules interactions. But I don't know. Maybe it's okay. We'll find out. We'll see if the meta shifts specifically. I'll be ready to play against more Canoptic Court, though. I'll mentally prepare myself. Yeah.
The problem with it, I think, and I was hoping that this is something that we phase out of the game, is the big bricks of units that just have a 5-up Feel No Pain and an invul and just sit there. I mean, I've ran it in the past. I know so many people have, and so many armies have just had this as a crutch of a unit that sits there and is almost unmovable, and it's just like you have to expend so much to kill it, and it's just like, obviously that's the nature of Necron, so it should be hard to kill. But when you've got a 4-up invul, 5-up Feel No Pain, it should cost a lot. It should be a premium.
If they were a 5-up invul, I wouldn't have so much of a problem with it.
Yeah, it's a 5-up, 5-up.
And they got 4 wounds?
Yes, I think it's 4. Yeah.
If they were 3 wounds, again, that's not too bad. But with 4 wounds is a horrible break point to have a 5+ Feel No Pain.
Yeah.
That's really nasty.
And then you reanimate.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I know you know. Yeah.
I know, mate. But then both of us neither have played Necrons, so maybe if you're a Necron player, you let us know. Like, how do you feel genuinely? Like, we can tell you from playing against Necrons, but as a non-Necron player, of course, you know, like we said, we've always got these biases. You smiling about your Blood Angels.
In a mixed way, though.
Yeah,
in a mixed way. But I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
So look, guys, this is just an open conversation that we're having. And please, if you're an Necron player, let us know how you feel about these, okay?
Absolutely. Orks up next. So Big Mech Shock Attack Gun up 10.
Good.
Boomdacker Snazwacken down 10. Boys for 20 up 10. Deathcopters for 3 down 10 for 6 down 20.
Oh, that is going to be spicy.
For 10 model flash kit unit up 10. The Looters for 10 up 15. Custom Booster Blaster for down 5. The Megatrap Scrapjet down 5. The Squig Buggy down 5. The Shock Jump Dragster down 5. Squig Hog Boys.
All I'm hearing is Speedwar, mate.
It's all coming down 5 points for each one. Squig Hog Boys down 10 for 4 or 20 for 8.
How many points are they, though, for 4?
For 4 of them, 150.
I don't know if you still. I don't know if they even come down enough.
Yeah. Tank Busters up 5.
Yeah, sure.
Truck up 5.
Okay.
And Zodrog up 10. Some of these I agree with. Zodrog going up, fine. 20 boys going up, fine.
Oh, I don't know about the 20 boys, you know.
If you're taking the Pain Boy and the War Boss, it cancels it out, really. It should, because they shouldn't go up with that, because you're already paying the premium to have the characters in the big brick, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But Big Mech going up is fine. Looters going up is fine.
The boys don't do much. They don't hit very hard.
They're just like a tar pit.
Yeah, they don't hit as hard as you think they might. And they do really struggle into some matchups.
Yeah.
I don't know if they needed to go up.
They have to have the WAR.
Yeah, to really do anything.
They have to have the WAR to really feel anything.
Trucks going up.
Probably didn't need it.
Probably didn't. They are very easy to kill.
Tank
trucks.
Busters going up 140.
Yeah, probably fair. I think the thing that probably needed to go up is the enhancement that makes one of your big shock attack gun dudes become a like Captain Zogrod, not Captain Zogrod, Badrock.
To give him the reroll hits.
I think that's the thing that probably needed to have gone up more so than the units necessarily. But anyway, okay, Orc players, let us know, how do you feel?
18 Deathcopters and Speedwar.
Yes, but all I'm hearing is Speedwar when you read out all that.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the big thing. We've already done Space Marines. We've already gone through them.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go to Tau next. So increases on points here.
Yeah.
For 20 crew, up 10. Sorry, Ross. The stealth suits for 3, up 20.
So Ross is one of our teammates. Is he currently number 1 in the world for Tau?
I couldn't confirm that one for you.
He's up there, though, isn't he?
He's definitely up there. I know he's been spearheading crew.
He really has. He has been all over the crew. So we're actually going to be getting Ross to come in. Same with VT Hobbs, and they're going to be helping us redo our Tau Masterclass after all of these changes. We felt it was right to take a complete fresh look at this because it's going to significantly impact the way that we've been teaching how to play with Tau. So we're really excited to redo that. And of course, if you have the Masterclass for Tau, get it now because it'll be cheaper because when we've redone it and we've put all the effort in, the price will be increasing ever so slightly. And of course, if you get it now, you'll still have access to it. And when we update it, you get that for free.
Yeah, absolutely. Stealth suits come up 20, and then enhancements we've got through Unity and Devastation up 15, and coordinated exploitation up 20.
Yeah, because they're essentially a persisting effect now. It's not just happening the once.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's just, as you said, countering for the army changes, right?
Yeah.
Thousand Suns, no changes. It's similar to Death Guard and stuff. Tyranids, some interesting ones here. Hive Guard down 10 for 3 and down 20 for 6.
Yep, fair enough.
Hive Tyrant down 30 points. Psychophage has gone up 15 points. The Screamer Killer has gone down 10. The Swarm Lord down 20, and a Winged Hive Tyrant down 30.
I don't think losing 30 points just because
you still get to do everything you did before.
Yeah, you just get half the amount of stratagems. You can't use 5 stratagems now. So are they pointing? Now, I would say I've seen more normal Hive Tyrants in the list than I have Winged Hive Tyrants.
I think most lists have Hive Tyrants in.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But they have winged ones, right?
No, not winged ones.
So if they didn't have a rules change, would you put the Winged Hive Tyrant down? Probably, right?
Probably, yeah.
So he probably does to come down somewhat. So maybe the Hive Tyrant wings coming down 40 is okay.
30.
Sorry, 30, yeah. So let's say you needed to take 10 to 15 points off it to make it more competitive. Then you're only really pointing a free stratagem at 3 points per turn you get to use it if your model's alive for 5 turns.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's weird. How do you point not getting to use 5 command points for free?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
It's difficult, isn't it? I think
because at the minute they've done it just going off this alone, 6 points. Every stratagem, is 6 points because 6 times 5 is 30.
I think maybe 15 points was fine for the High Tyrant just coming down. Personally, that's just my estimation of what I would have. Not too much.
But then, are you saying that using a CP for free is only worth 3 points?
We still get to. I see what you're saying. It's
Weird,
difficult because you can't.
Because you've got to value that. It's a very strong ability.
Yeah, maybe GW have a sheet of values. Ability value, sustained hits 5 points.
Well, yeah. You have to, right?
Absolutely. Psychophage going up, though. I actually don't think it should have gone up.
It's gained a lot.
So it's gained a lot.
How many points was it?
So it was 95 points. It's 110 points now.
I think that's fair.
110 points for
Yes, I do. Because what it has is the opposite of Armor of Contempt for the phase where you really, really want it. And it's not only faster, it's still a durable monster. It's still hard to kill at 110, 115 points, whatever. But it's got better in Armor of Contempt because it lasts for the entire phase, whereas Armor of Contempt you can only use for the next activation.
Yeah.
We've seen this, and I'm saying this as somebody that plays Castigators.
No, I do agree. I think, but the melee options for Tyranids is very lackluster. In terms of the units, it's going to help Hormagaunts a lot. Is
this because, though, the shooting output significantly is much better than the combat, so therefore people just take a shooting Tyranid army rather than the combat one?
For the most part, yes.
Because now all of a sudden, if things like your Raveners, warriors with twin-linked weapons, your Genestealers, I don't know, there could be even Lictors going to AP3 is pretty horrible.
Well, yeah, melee warriors going to AP3.
Exactly.
Genestealers get death wounds when they're with a Broodlord, so it's here and there with them.
Yeah, but that's only on 6s.
It's only on 6s, yeah.
So now you're just good AP all the time, which is better than death wounds.
Yeah, true.
So I don't know. I don't think 115 points is bad for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But that is Tyranids. Screamer Killers, nice to see that coming down as well. No other changes there. World Eaters, no changes either, so nothing on them. I agree. But here we are. We'll have to wait with them and the Thousand Sons, Death Guard, etc.
There's so much new stuff happening all the time recently, isn't there?
Yeah. But that is all the points. That is the entire Munitorum Field Manual.
All right, so guys, let us know in the comments, how do you feel about your faction?
What's your list come down?
Let us know what's happened to your list. Maybe that's it. Put your list in there. Just write like your army. So I would put Black Templars.
Yep.
Or let's use Custodes because I know exactly. So I'm going to write Custodes in the comments, and I'm going to write down 30.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, don't put the whole list.
Just put in
your faction and the points it's gone down.
That'd be really interesting, because if everybody comments that, then obviously we'll know like what armies have gone up massively. Maybe we'll try and pull some data on it if we can as well. Yeah. So we need your help us get the data, see who's been impacted the most, and then that could be another video.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Jordan, thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Games Workshop, for all this preview. Lovely access. We really, really appreciate it. Keep doing a great job that you do. And as critical as we have been on certain things, just please know we are very grateful for the fact that you even make changes, that you're passionate about building a great balanced game, and we are here to enjoy it. So thank you so, so much. And yeah, we hope you enjoy your Warhammer experience. And remember, we've got all the different courses available that you can buy. So if you really want to get started with your faction, learn a little bit more about it, then click the link and subscribe to the Masterclass series. And we'll see you on the next video. Take care.